What if we took LeBron James and the great Kobe Bryant and swapped their entire basketball careers, sending LeBron to spend 20 years in Los Angeles while Kobe lives out LeBron's legacy on multiple different teams, all starting out in his home state Ohio on the Cleveland Cavaliers? Which leads us to questioning who will go down as the greatest of all time. Because while both players have lived in the shadow of Jordan's 6 rings, today they'll have a chance to pass him. Because with their careers swapped, they'll be racing the 7 rings to become the undisputed GOAT. Although for now, our story is just beginning in 1996.
The Charlotte Hornets select
LeBron James
from Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania.
LeBron James was instantly making an impact for the Lakers. While Kobe spent much of his rookie year on the bench, LeBron wouldn't. The hype was real and he was regarded as the most NBA-ready rookie the league has ever seen. He was doing a bit of everything on the court with 22.3 points per game. He was bringing down 5.9 boards a night, and with 6.9 assists per game, he was getting his teammates involved. This was all enough for him to be crowned as the Rookie of the Year over Iverson. And it was also enough to help his team land a playoff spot versus Utah in round 1. LeBron was continuing to play well in his postseason debut, but so far we've only talked about half the story. We haven't mentioned yet that a lot of the success was due to him being teamed up with one of the best players in basketball. With as exciting as LeBron was, Shaq was still the #1 guy on this Lakers team. He was the main reason for their success this season, and he'd be critical for any success now. The rookie LeBron was playing out of his mind, but you can't rely on a first-year player, and other than Bron, the rest of the team was pretty mediocre overall, which unfortunately meant that this very deep Jazz team are going to be manhandling the Lakers in this series. They'd be getting bounced in round 1, but James shouldn't be upset, because with Kobe still only in 8th grade, LeBron has plenty of time to take advantage of his head start. And with the 1998 season rolling around, it was looking like he was doing just that. LeBron was taking enormous strides in just his 2nd year, and even after putting up insane numbers as a rookie, he was finding ways to push his game even further in year 2. James was developing significantly faster than Kobe did in real life with the Lakers, and he was already a legitimate star alongside Shaq. Already in his young career, he was becoming an all-star starter, and the media continued to hype up his game.
LeBron James is there right now, and what he's doing is just so spectacular.
However, the hype can only carry his career so far, and he'd have to prove that he was a winner. They'd finish the season with the 3rd seed, and he would have a chance to do just that. And with the smaller Gary Payton being his matchup, he was about to feast. The Glove was known as one of the top defenders in the 90s, but that may partially be because he never ran into anything like LeBron. King James was a specimen and a one-of-a-kind player in this time period. Payton wasn't even coming close to slowing him down, and it would be a first-round sweep of Seattle. LeBron may have just won his first series, but there was no time to celebrate. The next round was going to be a lot more difficult versus a young Kevin Garnett. KG was going to be a serious problem for the Lakers on both ends of the floor. He was one of the league's up-and-coming stars and was plenty good enough to upset LA. LeBron was still playing well like he has been all year, but Kevin Garnett wasn't going to fall easily. With KG having 2 years of experience over Bron, for now he was definitely better, and it was clear James would need some help to win. Luckily, he had all the help that he needed, with the big Aristotle holding things down. LeBron was fortunate enough to enter a career with a superstar teammate to help him transition to becoming a winning NBA player, and with this help, they were coming out on top of the Wolves. LeBron and his team were ecstatic to be making the conference finals for the first time since the Magic era, but things weren't getting easier, because now their next hurdle was the same team that embarrassed them last season. And funny enough, the Jazz swept the Lakers in the conference finals in real life this year, which means in order for LeBron to advance, he's going to have to outperform Kobe's legacy from 1998. Like the story has been so far, you may expect to hear about how Shaq would be leading the charge in this attempted change of history. And Shaq absolutely would be important, but there was a different narrative now. The person taking full charge this time around was LeBron James. He was a man on a mission on the court and wasn't letting anything get in the way of him in a trip to the finals. He may only be 19 years old, but LeBron was already playing like a veteran in this league and looked like a fitting replacement for Magic Johnson. The world was in awe of the new king around town, and he was leading one of basketball's most storied franchises to a spot in the finals, and I couldn't believe it. Super impressive to already make the finals in year 2. Gives them a big opportunity in this competition, but with it being 1998, it's going to be very difficult to win. By no surprise, Michael Jordan was waiting with his dynasty Bulls to take on the Lakers in the finals. This matchup was going to be much more challenging for Bron, with a man his own size sticking him. In the conference finals, he was looking unstoppable, but here in the finals, it was night and day. Everything LeBron tried in the court was being shut down by Chicago's defense. James was clearly exhausted trying to compete, and one man would take advantage. Michael Jordan was like a shark who smelled blood in the water, and he was after the young LeBron, and nothing LA did could stop him. This was the perfect moment for Mike. Not only could he shut down the up-and-comer trying to take his throne, but he was getting revenge on Shaq, who bounced him back in '95. The Lakers were barely putting up a fight and fell to Chicago after only 5 games. And while LeBron is only 19 and almost guaranteed to win some rings soon with Shaq, for now the haters were quick to trash James.
He wasn't even LeBron James. He was Alfred James. This was just pathetic. I mean, come on.
But heading into the 1999 season, it was obvious that LeBron was determined to prove everyone wrong about him. Most 20-year-olds would have crumbled under his situation. To be endlessly hyped up by the media coming out of high school, and with only 2 years in the NBA, to be completely crushed by critics as if he's failed. James isn't most 20-year-olds though. He was using this pressure as motivation and completely taking the league by storm, and for a moment would silence the doubters. In just year 3, we have an MVP. 38-8, 2-2. What an incredible season from LeBron James. But he was only going to be silencing them for so long, because while he was looking as dominant as ever in rounds 1 and 2 of the playoffs, once he got to the conference finals, that aura would fade. It was his first of what will surely be many run-ins with Tim Duncan and the Spurs. And it wasn't just Timmy to be worried about. They also had the Admiral David Robinson down low. With the Twin Towers protecting the paint, things would be difficult for LeBron to score. He's developed some shooting, but so far his game is still primarily reliant on the paint. These two giants commanding the paint also meant Shaq was not going to be able to save LeBron here. With all that said, the pressure was on, and there was a possibility of another major collapse in the playoffs. Bron was going to have to dig deep if there was any way he was going to come out on top here. San Antonio saw the intensity getting to the Lakers, and much like Mike did last year, they were going to take advantage. Both bigs were taking turns working down low in the post, and they'd walk into LA's home court and steal away 2 wins like it was nothing. So far in this sim, LeBron's looking like a loser, but all of you watching can be winners with today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. The way it works is super simple. You just choose between 2 to 5 of your favorite players and predict whether their stats will be higher or lower. If you get them right, you can multiply your money exponentially in a single night. And on the topic of money, Underdog is hooking you all up with bonus cash when you sign up with code Allen at UnderdogFantasy.com. So check out the link in the description down below or the pinned comment and use code Allen during sign up to get your special pick to go along with up to $250 in bonus cash. With all the action going on in the NBA playoffs, right now is the best time to check out Underdog Fantasy. I've been playing almost every single night and I enjoy it every single time. It's truly a blast. This is one of my pick'ems from last round, and I actually did end up winning some solid cash. So again, thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you sign up with the link below and use code Allen to start playing for yourself. And now let's see if LeBron can start winning in this series against the Spurs. With this series moving out to Texas on the Spurs home turf, these next games would be massive. The matchup wasn't over yet, and LeBron would have himself an opportunity to rise to the occasion. As this thing continues on the road, LeBron was reminding the world why he was given the MVP of the league. He may have had some troubles in the first couple of games scoring, but he wouldn't let this be a massacre like the finals last year. With Shaq getting less touches in the crowded paint, LeBron was taking matters into his own hands and pushing the pace of this game. He was practically living on the fast break and turning defense into offense. James was living up to all the hype and expectations here because he was the real deal. This series was being tied right back up at 2-2, but that's not where LeBron was stopping. Back in Los Angeles for Game 5, it seemed like he had the Spurs all figured out. He was on fire this matchup, and his jumper simply refused to miss. In just 3 games, the Lakers completely flipped this series around and took control with the lead. We were still far from the end though, because Tim Duncan wasn't folding like this in his first conference final. He may only be a second-year player, but he was developing just as fast as LeBron. The Spurs would get this thing tied up to force a Game 7. And we are bound to see this matchup between Duncan and LeBron a lot over the next several years, but as we get ready to tip off, only one can come out on top today. Right out the gates, both sides were totally locked in to try and seize the moment. They both knew whoever wins here would be massive favorites in the finals against the Heat, and were practically walking to a free championship. All of Shaq, LeBron, Duncan, and Robinson were fighting for their first rings, and the outcome of this match would show it. As the game was winding down to the final moments, both sides had fought hard, and their results were up in the air. LeBron and his Lakers are down by 2 right now, 40 seconds left in the game. They get it down low to Shaq, just swinging it back out, swinging around Derek Fisher, LeBron James with it. 10 seconds left on the clock. You have to score here. You're in a bad spot. They're going to Shaq. They're not going to LeBron. Shaq's hook. It's off. Oh my God. LeBron tried to run in there for the O board. Didn't get it. The Spurs have it now up by 2. The Lakers aren't fouling, which is surprising for the 2K AI, actually. If the Spurs score here, though, it's pretty much over. You don't have enough time. They're burning all the clock. They're going to rely on their defense. I've actually never seen the 2K computer do this. They got the screen, the corner, Ellie swinging around. This is paying off for the Lakers. Deep shot, no way. Shaq gets the board. They take a timeout. Knowing very well that this timeout could be the last of the season, they work to drop a play to either tie the game or win. The question is, between their 2 stars, who would be the one taking this final shot? And we're about to find out as Rodman prepares to inbound. 4.3 left. LeBron James gets the inbound here. 1 second left. Oh, that's not a good look. That's not a good look. Those final seconds all happened so fast, I hardly had time to react, but they felt like forever for LeBron, and he'll be spending the whole offseason reacting to it. And while he dwelled on that missed shot all offseason, it was simultaneous to him working on his game extensively. As far as he was concerned, he didn't even have a summer, because all he did was continue to play basketball. LeBron James was now ready for something special. The expectations for LeBron coming into the NBA were massive, and many thought there was no chance someone could live up to them, but here, in this season, he was completely surpassing them. His numbers were taking another leap, even further than last year, and it was enough for him to become the back-to-back MVP. He was doing it all, from scoring to playmaking to rebounding, and it was rewarded. But that isn't where his accolades would stop. Just like the year prior, his defense was top-notch, and he'd be earning some extra hardware. James was getting the Defensive Player of the Year, which is something Kobe never accomplished. But as we all know, what matters in this competition is the ring. And come the playoffs, it didn't look like anything was stopping LeBron from having the perfect year. They were up against the Spurs again in the conference finals, but this time around was going to be vastly different from last year. James was on a tear against the defending champs, and his improved shooting made the crowded paint irrelevant. LeBron was taking this matchup in a sweep to tie his battles with Duncan at 1-1, but more importantly, to earn a trip to the finals. Which meant now with no Jordan in the way, LeBron had a legitimate chance to get his first ring in our competition, and I was confident he would. This is who the Lakers are up against in the finals. They beat the Sixers. I'm not going to say it's impossible for LA to lose, but I will say it's not possible for the Knicks to win this. Like I was expecting, there was absolutely nothing that New York could do in this series. LeBron and Shaq were finally getting everything figured out, and it was beginning to look unfair for other teams. There was zero doubt in my mind that the Lakers were the best team in the NBA, and they were proving it here. LeBron was getting his first ring in commanding fashion with a sweep over the New York Knicks, all on their own home floor. This means LeBron is now officially getting on the board for our competition with the ring #1, and as all of this is happening, Kobe Bryant is only just now wrapping up his freshman year of high school. Meaning James very likely could be taking a massive lead here, because it was clear Shaq and Bron found the formula for success. With Kobe still 3 years away from his NBA debut, the door was wide open for LeBron. The Lakers were getting back into the finals in 2001, where they would face the Hornets, whose best players were Mashburn and the young Baron Davis, and that would quickly end in a championship for LeBron and the Lakers, extending his lead, and it wasn't stopping there. The next year, they were matched up with the Milwaukee Bucks, and there still wasn't a single soul slowing down LeBron in the entire league. This one was more competitive than the last couple, but in the end, LeBron was still winning. And believe it or not, LeBron wasn't stopping at a three-peat. He was closing out 2003 with another one. That makes it 4 straight rings for LeBron to already have a 4-0 lead over Kobe. And while Bryant is officially drafted and can now fight back, his team just isn't good enough yet. LeBron's, on the other hand, was still going strong and getting even stronger. We'll fast forward to the finals of this season, where LeBron was making his 6th appearance in 7 years and was continuing to dominate the league here versus the Pacers. Ron Artest was the best defender LeBron has seen since Pippen, and it would be a bit of a scare to the end of the Lakers dynasty, but in the end, LeBron had enough to get it done in 6. Which in turn results in LeBron extending his lead even further to possibly an insurmountable 5-0 advantage. I did not think LeBron was going to win 5 with Shaq. This video really might be a lot shorter than I was expecting. And you may be thinking it's already all over for Kobe Bryant in this competition, but on the bright side, Shaq was leaving for Miami, and now LeBron was all alone. His Lakers teams wouldn't be making any notable progress the next several years, so now we're gonna go ahead and shift all of our focus to Kobe's story. We're starting off in his rookie year, where he was coming straight out of high school and joining a Cleveland team without much significant help around him. It certainly wasn't the same situation LeBron came into with a top 10 player all time, but he was going to have to make do with what he had. Like LeBron, there was a lot of hype around his name coming into the league. And similarly, he will put up some massive numbers in his rookie outing. In a class stacked with guys like Wade, Carmelo, and Chris Bosh, Kobe was still standing above them all as the most impressive. He was earning a Rookie of the Year himself, but that would be our last similarity to LeBron's rookie year. Because unlike LeBron, Kobe wasn't making the playoffs at all in his debut as his team landed the 12th seed. And the following year didn't have much different results. Kobe was still playing solid himself, but was definitely growing a bit slower than LeBron did in this sim. Of course, this would be a massive problem, because if Kobe doesn't start improving enough to compete for some rings soon, this challenge may be over before it really even gets started. But we have to come to the realization that Kobe just wasn't good enough quite yet to have any chance at a title. 2005 would be an even worse season than 2004, believe it or not, and going into 2006, it wasn't much better.
2006 and Kobe still doesn't make the playoffs. He's one win off. He was close. But this year, LeBron made the playoffs for real life and he got to the second round. This is a major setback for Kobe and I'm starting to worry.
I may have doubted the Black Mamba a bit too early though, because in 2007, he was finally making some progress. Kobe was a full-fledged superstar in the league by now, and if his teammates weren't going to help him, he was going to take matters into his own hands. This year would see a new career high in points per game for Kobe, and much of that would be due to the fact that he was taking the majority of his team's shots. It would result in memes like these, but more importantly, it resulted in his first playoffs, which is massive because in real life, LeBron made the finals here, and if Kobe could do the same, he has a chance to possibly win his first ring and start catching up to LeBron's massive lead. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because for now, he has to face the first round versus the Nets. This was the debut for Kobe Bryant in the postseason. He was showing up just as much as he would in the regular season. For this series, he was averaging some incredible numbers, and it was beginning to look like any doubts about his ability to win could all be vanishing very soon. Bryant was fully doing his part, but could the rest of his team keep up? That's where the problem would arise, because Jason Kidd was leading the charge for New Jersey, and nobody in Cleveland could slow him down. He was fully loose to do as he wishes on the court, and you couldn't even put the great defender Kobe on him because he was busy elsewhere. They also had a young Vince Carter playing the best basketball of his career so far, and Kobe was completely wrapped up in trying to slow him down. This duo was a tandem that Kobe wouldn't be able to overcome all on his own, and that would ultimately be his downfall. With the Cavaliers losing this series after 5 games, anybody rooting for Kobe here might want to start panicking. Well, Kobe's opportunity to get back in this did not last long at all. Pau Gasol has arrived to team up with LeBron James. With the addition of Pau Gasol on the team, LeBron again had an opportunity to get back into winning. Gasol was one of the best bigs in the league and was an excellent second scoring option alongside LeBron James, who recently started wearing the number 24 and has continued playing at an MVP caliber level, which would land his team the top record. LeBron and the Lakers were back in the playoffs against the Hornets, but first let's talk about Bryant. After coming up short the previous year, Kobe was determined to finally make some progress in his career. He is now going into his 5th year in the league without a single playoff series win, and with this Mamba mentality, that was absolutely unacceptable. Backed by another high-level season, Kobe was again carrying this awful team into the playoffs. And these playoffs will finally be the moment where Kobe is making some progress, because in the first round against an aging Detroit Pistons roster, Kobe was by a landslide the very best player on the entire court. In an effort nearly all on his own, Kobe was getting his first ever playoff win. Unfortunately though, that's where it would end, and his success would continue to be limited, because round 2, Gilbert Arenas and his Washington Wizards had the overall better roster, and they were coming out over the Cavaliers. The only bright point for Kobe was the fact that LeBron and his Lakers also lost in round 2 against the Carmelo Anthony Nuggets, but that would only last so long. Because in 2009, he and LA were winning the conference finals to make it to the NBA finals. Which, to remind you, means LeBron now has a chance to take an even larger 6-0 lead, but we still have to see who is in the finals. Which of course takes us out east, where Kobe Bryant continues to improve. He was not only winning the first round of the playoffs again, but this time he wouldn't be stopped in round 2 and was making it his first conference final. And in his first appearance, somehow Andre Iguodala led the Sixers here past Boston. Iggy was a solid player, but he was no Kobe Bryant. The Mamba was on the attack here, and after somehow avoiding the super team Celtics, there was no way he was not finally getting out of the East. He alone averaged half the Sixers' entire team scoring throughout this series, and you'd be a fool to think that this season was like the others. I wasn't expecting it, but Kobe was finally making it to his first finals. And we'd also have our first finals of Kobe against LeBron, with a lot at stake. With Kobe trailing and at risk of going down 6-0, this would without a doubt be the most important series of his life. But unfortunately, this wouldn't even be remotely close. LeBron James and his team were so far ahead of the Cavaliers that this series was nearly a joke. Kobe didn't play poorly by any means, and in fact played great in his first finals, but his team just wasn't talented enough. It if you blinked your eyes, you'd probably end up missing it after the Lakers were winning in 4. Just when you thought things couldn't get worse for Kobe, LeBron was taking a 6-0 lead over him and only needed one more ring to win this. But it wasn't over just yet, because in 2010, LeBron was facing a much stronger foe in the finals. The Celtics were stacked with Garnett, the Truth Paul Pierce, and one of the best shooters ever, Ray Allen. This was a very close matchup, but Kobe lives to see another season in this competition. Paul Pierce was rallying his team together and figuring out a way to outlast LeBron and keep Kobe's hopes alive. Of course, it goes without saying that Kobe also lost to the Celtics this year, considering he wasn't in the finals, but that losing might all be ending. Kobe was announcing that he would take his talent to the Miami Heat. After years of failure with an absolutely terrible team, he now has one of the best in the NBA history. He was joined by Dwayne Wade in the middle of his prime and an all-star big man, Chris Bosh, holding down the paint. This was a very different dynamic than LeBron's real-life Heat, because Kobe was much more of a scorer than a facilitator for this team as LeBron was. But it was honestly working absolute wonders, and the team chemistry was developing quickly. Kobe and Wade meshed together seamlessly and played off of each other's shot-creating abilities. A lot of times, two ball-dominant high-level scorers clashed on the same team, but that was far from the case with these two here. They were fully in sync, and Kobe's stats saw a solid increase now that some of the defensive pressure was dispersed elsewhere other than him. As he settled in his new team, it was all coming together perfectly, and the cherry on top was Bryant receiving his first MVP accolade. MVP number 1 for Kobe. He's finally getting on the right side of things. On a team this good, he might be getting on the right side of things as far as winning a championship as well. And as Kobe is breezing through the East playoffs, it was looking like I was right. In the past, even if Bryant played absolutely perfectly, there was still a good chance that his team would lose. But now with all the talent assisting him, even if he didn't play his best game, more than likely not, the team was winning. They barreled past every opponent and they were on their way to the NBA Finals. But on the other end, we wouldn't be seeing LeBron, because in the Western Conference Finals, the San Antonio Spurs were giving them major issues. Way back at the start of our sim in 1999, I mentioned we'd see a lot of the Spurs, and while I haven't shown many of the matchup, they've played each other in the playoffs more years than not. For the most part, it's been the Lakers winning, but in 2011 that wouldn't be the case as the Spurs advanced to face Kobe. LeBron may have had troubles competing against this San Antonio team, but one thing for sure was that Kobe was not. The Spurs didn't have a single answer on their roster capable of slowing down Bryant, who was averaging 32.9 points per game during the final series on great efficiency. Even if they could slow down Kobe, I'm not even sure that it would help, because Wade was still playing at a high-level superstar caliber at this point, and two combined together weren't going to be outdone by the Spurs. Kobe Bryant was finally doing it. In his 8th season, at long last, he would be experiencing winning a championship, which now means he's finally on the board in our race to 7, and that isn't where he was stopping. The Heat weren't settling after winning and added one of the league's best 3-and-D players. With Battier available for Kobe to kick it out to off doubles, this team was now even better than the year prior. Kobe was defeating every team in the East again, and for the second year in a row, they were playing the Chicago Bulls in the conference finals, and the Heat would be shutting them down for a trip to the NBA Finals. But this time, LeBron James was waiting for Kobe for a finals rematch. If you remember back in 2009, LeBron had the significantly better team and completely embarrassed Kobe. But now in present day, the script is completely flipped, and Bryant had the far better team and was getting his revenge against LeBron. The Heat blew out the Lakers, fueled by Kobe's desire for vengeance, and now the Mamba is adding on to his ring collection to lessen the gap. But don't start celebrating too early, Kobe fans, because LeBron was still a threat. The Lakers added Steve Nash and Dwight Howard to their roster, and it was only a matter of time before they were in the finals again. Both the Lakers and the Heat had the best records heading into this, and it was going to be an all-out battle. On one of the things, the combination of Lakers big man would give Bosh huge issues. Having both Gasol and Howard in the paint was going to be incredibly difficult to stop. But on the other side of things, the Heat had a massive advantage over LA with the Wade and Nash matchup. Steve was way too old to be guarding D-Wade at this point, and he would even things out with the big man battle. Which leaves us the matchup between LeBron and Kobe. This series ultimately would come down to who was the better player and who could outperform the other in the finals. It would go back and forth with each other every single game, and it would end up going the full distance to a Game 7. In this final match, Kobe would have the advantage with home court, but LeBron didn't care. He was still playing his best basketball of his career and was determined to finally get his 7th championship and win this competition. His only problem was that Kobe was a fierce competitor and just as determined to win here, which resulted in the game being nearly even come the final few possessions as LA took a timeout. Just to remind you what's at stake here, it's not just this finals on the line, but the entire competition is on the line for Kobe if he can't hang on here versus LeBron. Late in Game 7 with the game close, there is a lot on the line. This might be the highest stakes matchup I've done on any sim on my entire channel. If the Lakers win here, the competition is over. If the Heat win, Kobe survives another season. LeBron James, Shane Battier locking him up Jody Meeks with the ball. Kobe Bryant on him. They're getting it back to LeBron. Steve Nash down low. Dwayne Wade guarding Nash. An old age Steve Nash with the game on the line. He goes for the tough leg. It's off. Kobe beat Bryant the rebound. Up by one. He's pushing the pace. Oh my God. He lost the ball. Is it a kicked ball? It was a kicked ball violation. Kobe might have just got saved. He definitely lost his dribble there. 29.6 left. I'm surprised the AI is not fouling. They're going to let him play. Then he gets down low to Chris Bosh. Dwight Howard, a great defender. Bosh is lays off. He gets the board, though. Hold on to the ball. He's headed to the line. Chris Bosh, with not only the season on the line, the entire simulation on the line right now. His first free throw is good. Free throw number 2 coming up for Chris Bosh. 21 seconds left in this game to put him up by 3. It's good. Does LA have any timeouts? It looks like they don't have timeouts. Or if they do, they're not using it. Down by 3. LeBron with the ball. The fantastic defender, Shane Battier, is sticking him. LeBron one-on-one. 14 seconds left. You don't want to leave any clock left for Kobe. You know what he's capable of right here. He's swinging around. Jody Meeks, Steve Nash. Oh, pump. He's pulling it. He's pulling it. That's what 2K does. It's off. It's off. It's off. It's off. Kobe. He is not going to choke these free throws. Kobe hits the first free throw. With this second free throw here, I don't think there's any way that LA wins this. No timeouts. About to be down by 5 with only 3 seconds. It's impossible, right? The inbound, Pau Gasol, LeBron, hoist the full court shot. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't matter. Does he do it? Kobe remains another season. Kobe and his team were rightfully celebrating this win, but while they were doing that, they didn't realize just how much this loss meant for LeBron. Because in 2014, LeBron wouldn't have another chance. Durant and the Thunder were defeating him to challenge Kobe. And while Durant was an incredible player and would give us one of the best scoring battles of all time against the Mamba, he and his roster weren't good enough to beat Kobe Bryant in this stacked heat. Meaning Kobe now has won 4 championships straight to get within 2 rings of LeBron, but there was a much bigger story to tell. Following that ring, Bryant was officially deciding to return to Cleveland, and on top of that, another dynasty was developing.
How do you put this team into words, Golden State?
Steph is obviously the best player in the world right now.
When you get off to that 12-0 start, you have people start to whisper about Michael Jordan and that Chicago team.
Golden State sitting on top of the Western Conference.
They have changed and revolutionized the way the game is played. There's no other team in the world that plays like them.
The Warriors were taking the league by storm starting in 2015, and they would run the Western Conference for years to come. Meaning from this point forward, LeBron would see 0 success whatsoever, and come 2017, he would officially be announcing his retirement from the sport of basketball. Which means now his ring count is locked in at 6, and with 10 more seasons to play, Kobe has a chance to pass him up. But like I said, the Warriors team was a dynasty in the making, and as we all know, in 2017, after acquiring Durant, there isn't a team in NBA history who could stop them. They'd be defeating Kobe and the Cavs in both 2017 and 2018, but that still leaves the 15 and 16 seasons. As we remember in real life, this was a climactic battle between LeBron and Curry, and it's likely to be the same here. So for that reason, we'll come back to it later, and instead talk about Bryant's last stretch with the Lakers first, which would start with a mediocre team in 2019, but Kobe would still try to will his way to a ring. He'd have a great year personally, but this was reminiscent of his early Cavaliers teams without a lot of star help. The season will end in his first missed playoffs since the mid-2000s, but in 2020, Anthony Davis was arriving to bring him all the help he needed. Kobe has never played with a big man at the caliber of skill as Anthony Davis. Bosh and Love were both good, but they were no AD. The Lakers also had great role players like Alex Caruso rounding them out. With that said, it was by no surprise that they would find themselves in the finals this season. It was a matchup against the Sixers, and while they were good competition, the Lakers were favorites the whole way through. This roster, so seamlessly rounded out with talent all the way through the bench, was one of the best overall units built around Kobe to date. It was perfect for the Mamba, and it was resulting in him adding his 5th championship to his collection. But for whatever reason, the front office would completely dismantle the team following this ring. The duo of Kobe and AD would still be dominant for the next several years, but without an ideal supporting cast built around them, they'd fall short to other up-and-coming teams in the West for the next few years. This would go all the way to the modern day 2024, and Kobe's Lakers tenure would end with only 1 ring. But we still have to go back to the year 2015 before this thing is over. As we mentioned earlier, this Warriors team has fully blossomed into the NBA's most exciting show, and it was kicking off this year with Curry earning his first MVP. His three-point shooting was going to be a massive challenge to keep up with, but Kobe was up for the challenge. He was a veteran in this league, and while Curry was looking like the future, Kobe was still the now. The Warriors had a fantastic defense, but they weren't built to stop a scorer as dominant as Kobe. And when you pair the excellence of Kyrie going head-to-head with Curry, it was a formula for success. Kobe would also take on the task of guarding Steph, and slowing him down slightly may have been the difference maker. The matches were close, but the series wasn't, as the Cavaliers were shutting down the Warriors' hopes of a championship materializing. So now Kobe is up to 6 rings, which officially ties LeBron, and with 1 year left, he has a chance to end it in a tie or completely win altogether. But with 2016 being the Warriors' 73-win season, it wouldn't be easy. This time around, the Warriors were even better than 2015, and they were playing as a team trying to get a championship. Everyone's shooting was scorching hot, and they were playing hard on both ends of the floor. But Kobe was going for 6 straight, and this was his league. This finals would act as a culmination of all his lows and highs throughout his career. All the losses he took early on that hardened his focus up until now. All of his wins teaching him what it takes to be the best. Out of all of his final series, he will put it all together. This was Kobe's masterclass.
This very well could be the craziest finals performance in NBA history. The Cleveland Cavaliers get it done in 6.
And just like that, Kobe has got ring 7. He's passed Jordan in the GOAT debate and not only beat LeBron, but came back down 6-0. Kobe has now proven himself as the GOAT, but what if his teammates and the man they just battled with swap their careers too? Find out by clicking this video next, where I swapped Kyrie Irving and Stephen Curry's careers.